All right. Good afternoon and welcome to Mindfulness Cafe. This is with the Academy of Creative Coaching. Thank you so much for joining us. We have another exciting guest today, and we have Miss Natasha Ferguson. She is the CEO and founder of the Career Clutch, and we're going to hear all about that. She has been in the human resources industry for over 15 years. She said a long time. She couldn't give me the exact number, but she's like, I've been doing this for a long time. So we're going to glean some great tips and knowledge from her today and talk about, even as we were preparing for this interview, she provided a lot of great perspectives and tips and tricks and thoughts. So I thought it would be awesome for our coaches and others who watch us to join and get some tips as well. So welcome, Natasha. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Wonderful, wonderful. So human resources. I have mixed feelings about human resources because, okay, well, first of all, you already told me, but what is the reason why you went into HR?
I mean, I went into HR really because I love people. I'm a people person, and I really wanted to be an advocate for people. But honestly, I started off my career as a paralegal. My professional career, my first corporate step into space. My first step into the corporate space was really as a paralegal. And so after years as a paralegal, I wanted to figure out what my next step was. I knew I didn't want to go back to law school, didn't know what I wanted to do. So I really sat down with, ironically, a career coach. Um, and we went through a lot of things and we talked about what I was good at, what I liked, what my passions were. I took a couple of assessments and they asked, had I ever thought about, human resources? And I'm like, yeah. I mean, I like resources, maybe not the human so much all the time, because we have some stuff going on. We always think that just tell human resources everything, and so I gave it a try, and 15 years later, here I am.
And a career coach helped you get there. So that's
Yeah.
wonderful. But one of the reasons I was going to say I have mixed feelings about human resources because most people, well, you did tell me earlier that you actually like people, you like helping people and advocating for people. But it's so funny because a lot of HR to me from the outside looking in it's not always about helping people. It's kind of about protecting the company and and making sure they're in compliance. So,
It's
yeah,
a healthy balance. I mean, it really is. We are there to, I say we serve two things. And I know a lot of times people say you can't serve two masters, but you really are kind of in the middle.
yeah,
And I like to look at it as I'm just the conduit. I'm like the middle person, I guess I would say, the mediary. I'm the person in the middle between the company and the employee. And so I like to be an advocate for the employee when I can, but I am also there to mitigate, damages and loss for the company. So,
yeah,
I have to balance it both.
yeah,
But yeah,
yep. That's
I'm very empathetic as a person. So
yeah.
I tend to be a pretty empathetic leader, I guess.
Okay, okay. Before we go on to talk about your actual organization, I want to just, and we didn't get a chance to talk about this in our pre-work, but I know that diversity and inclusion issues often fall under HR.
Mhm.
Um, and how have you seen some of that playing out specifically in the past couple of years when it's really been brought to the forefront? Has that landed on your plate in corporate?
It has. I mean, I think the first place that everyone always thinks when it comes to the employees or the people is HR. And so, what I have seen and what I always do when it lands on my desk is push it back. Because although it is something that is centered around the people, it needs to come from the leader. It needs to come from the executive. It needs to come from the CEO. So my question is always to my leader. So what do you want to do? what is your heart? Where is your heart? How do you feel? What's the next step for you? And then I will be able to help you to administrate that. We will figure out how we're going to deploy it, launch it, how it's going to touch the people. But I need for you to tell me what your stance is and what the goal is, right? If it's just performative, it's just something that you want me to do because you want to check the box. And if you're bringing it to me because I am the person of color that is actually sitting at your table, and you think that I would be the perfect person to deliver it, then we're off to the wrong start already. Because diversity and inclusion has a lot of faces. It doesn't always have to be color. It
Right.
can be, many other things, right? How
Absolutely.
long you've been in the business, what side of the business that you're sitting on. It could be your abilities. It could be lots of things, and not just the color of your skin. But a lot of times we like to choose that minority in whatever space that they sit in to allow them to be the mouthpiece for it. So first of all, I don't think it should sit with HR. Let's be clear on that. I think I probably was a little clear on that, but yeah.
Well, yeah, you were, but okay, I know this is a whole separate conversation, but I'm dealing with this with a client though. But
Yeah.
where should it sit if it's not in HR? Just a standalone department?
I think it should always be a standalone department, in my mind, in my opinion. Now there are some organizations that don't have the infrastructure to support that,
Mhm.
and if that's the case, then we should partner. HR should partner with the executive team, right? And so if I'm sitting on the executive team, which I am, but if, when in my space, then I also need to partner with the CEO, the EVP, whoever is the leader of the organization, the president, whoever is going to be the spokesperson of the organization who holds the vision, because you hold the vision for the entire organization. And so it should come from you. And then it can sit with me, but I am not going to be the owner of it. So I am going to be the person that says, hello, this is our new initiative. And now that we have this initiative, these are the 4 prongs or 5 prongs or however many we have. And this is what the pillars are going to, these are the pillars. This is what we want to do. However, she owns this, she owns that, he owns this. Here you go. Have a great day.
Right. Okay. I like that. I like that. That was very insightful. So
Yeah.
thank you for that. Thank you. I'm gonna reshare that with somebody. So all right. So let's talk about the career clutch. I love honestly why you have founded this and created this. So tell me a little bit about why you you created this organization.
So I created the Career Clutch because I wanted women to have a safe space, right? A safe space where they'll be able to share experiences, share their disappointments, share their fears, share the things that they are going through in the corporate space. Because a lot of times we don't really have that place, right? Because we're told that we should share emotions and we shouldn't be emotional beings at work, and never let them see you cry, never let them see you sweat, never let them see you do anything. So I'm like, well,
Right.
what am I supposed to do and where am I supposed to go with that? I wanted to create a place where women could have conversations collectively about that. And then, of course, CLATCH is the collective group. And I wanted us to be able to really debunk the myth that women aren't collaborative, that we don't support each other, that we can't share and glean. We're always competitive, we're always catty, that we have experiences that we can bring together, bring to the table, that we can talk about it and we can help lift each other.
I love it. So what are some, I guess, what would you say are some of the key issues and problems that you see women face in the workplace that you kind of see come up in your group? I know you've had book clubs as well around, um, you know, different topics and issues, but what are some things that you hear and maybe you see within the group that women specifically are dealing with?
I think a lot of times, of course, the first thing's always going, one of the major things is always going to be pay, right? We want to be paid equally. I think another thing that comes up quite often lately is promotion opportunities, feeling like they're not visible, they don't have a voice. that the opportunities go to other people that haven't given as much sweat equity. They're not working as hard. They're not showing up as much. And then the balancing, right? We're always trying to balance the things.
Mm,
Being the wife, being the mom, being the coach, being we have our own company. I'm trying to do something on the side. I'm trying to create a brand, a vision, a legacy, all the things. And with all the things, as I say this all the time, all the things brings all the things. So now that
mm,
I have all of these things, then I've got all of the stressors that go along with it. And now I'm trying to figure out where I can place all of that and how I can compartmentalize that and continue to show up in excellence, right?
yeah.
And so it's a balancing act, and then you're trying to do all of that, and after you've done it all, you are stretched, you're burnt out, and you don't feel appreciated. You don't feel appreciated with all the things you did externally.
Mhm.
Because the children don't care. The husband is like, yeah, that was great, but and then the boss is like, oh, that was wonderful, more, more, more. And you're still not
Right,
getting what
right,
you want. Yeah,
right, right.
yeah.
So
Mhm.
now burnout, because I know that that was or is still probably a big issue for those people who um, i- didn't lose their jobs during I was going to say during the recession, but during the pandemic, which of course there was a lot of sympathy for people who lost their jobs.
Yeah,
But those who still stayed and worked, I saw a lot of loss of boundaries where people were literally just working pretty much all day and there were no cutoffs and you're in the kitchen or in your office all day on a computer. Did you see a lot of the burnout? And if so, how do people address burnout?
yeah. I see the burnout quite often. I mean, I think a lot of times we just overlook it, right? Especially as women. We
Yes.
overlook it because we have grown accustomed to balancing everything and not taking the nap when the nap is required, not resting the body when the body is required. It's asking for it. I want rest. I want water. I want hydration. I want peace. I want you to stop. We don't do any of that because we've got other things to do. We've grown accustomed to running in overdrive. But I think it's taking time to recognize and hear, slowing down to hear those small reminders that your body gives you, right? That you're tired when you're frustrated and you're aggravated, you're short, your fuse is short, your energy is low, all those things that we know, we hear them, but it's like, oh, I'm just not having a good day,
Right,
all
right.
the time. We give it, oh my God, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Oh my God, I'm so tired. I think it's menopause, all the things. We give it all of the titles, but
Right.
it's really just the fact that we have been going nonstop and we just
Yeah.
need to stop and listen to our bodies because it will tell us everything that it wants us to know.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I need to yeah, we'll talk after this. So yes, we need to listen to our bodies. Women, please do that. And then again, because a lot of our listeners are coaches, they're doing it full time or part time, where
Mhm.
they have these jobs and then they're trying to build their coaching practices on the side. But even those that are doing it full time, a lot of times when you're doing individual coaching, taking and even group coaching, you're taking in all that emotion and stuff that people are giving you and there's nothing left and we're running on fumes.
Yes,
So we as women really need to take care of ourselves. Yes.
absolutely.
So one of the other things I wanted to be sure to you shared with us is a little bit about your movement. I think this is like genius, and I think it's really critical for people to understand. So, if people who are watching, make sure you get your pen and paper, and I want you to listen to Natasha talk a little bit about this concept and why it's important. But can you share a little bit about that?
It's really my personal, as they say, you need to have a routine, and you read all these books and you read all these articles, and it's like, oh, what are the routines of successful, or what's the routines of this? And it's really just what works for me. and what I have seen work for many of my clients, and just my friends in general. Just four things really every day, or I try to practice it every day of my life, but just putting it into regular practice. And the M is really for move, right? Move your body. And it doesn't have to be going to the gym. If you're not a gym person, it could be just getting up in the morning, stretching, um, getting up in the morning, doing a couple of jumping jacks. If you're not doing the jumping jacks, maybe, doing a little yoga, whatever it is, but moving your body, releasing some of that stress, releasing some of that built up tension that we get because we're carrying all the things, and just really getting that mental clarity. Because one thing that I know for sure is that when we move our bodies, we allow it to stretch and gives us space and allows us to be able to think more clearly. If I don't move, I'm just kind of bogged down. I'm cloudy. Everything is a little blurry for me, and it gives me clarity. And it also just kind of stops time a little bit and allows me the ability to be able to think, right?
Yes.
Because I'm not thinking about all the other things that are going on. My mind gets a little clearer. It helps my creativity. So just move your body,
Yes.
in whatever way that looks like. This is not, if you don't go to the gym, you're not doing it right. If you don't do 45 minutes of cardio, I mean, that's between you and your doctor. Now, if your doctor, you need to be doing 45 minutes, don't listen to me. Listen to your
Right. Dr. Natasha said.
yeah, don't listen to me. But, but move your body in some sort of way, whatever makes you happy. If it's dancing, do it. That 10 minutes or 15 minutes, do it. But move your body. And then the O is for open your mind. And it's open your mind to whatever. And be sorry,
Mhm.
be willing to open yourself to new opportunities. Be willing to open your mind to your shortcomings, your blind spots, all of those things. I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay. Just as you're drinking, I'll just kind of fill in for a second. When you were even talking about the move, I always post or talk about how the gym, because I do it pretty much every day in the morning, it's like my office because I get so much clarity when
Yeah,
I work out, and I just didn't even think about how it does, like there's something physically that happens where your mind, it just opens up space. So yeah, so
absolutely.
even if for those of you who feel like I don't have time, I need to work, like you would be shocked at how much clarity you can get and work is still happening when you're working out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so again, like I was saying, like the O is for open your mind, open yourself up to more opportunities, to different ways of learning things, to different groups and different networks. Because sometimes we like to travel in the same circle with the same friends, with the same people that we know, and then we get the same results and the same opportunities and the same things, and we're wanting something different, and then we're wondering why we're not getting it, because we're not opening ourselves up to anything different. So just really open our minds, and that's also to learning new things, like reading, taking in things. I try to make sure that I read, write, and create every day in some sort of way. Um, and so just reading something new, whether it's taking a couple of minutes out of a book, an article, whatever it looks like, but opening your mind to something new.
Yep.
Um, yeah, that V,
Ravi.
that V, man. Valuing your time. We
Yes.
all get the same amount of hours in a day, but it really depends. Your success kind of determines, I mean, it really is dependent upon what you do with that time, right? And so we can waste our time on a lot of
Yes. Yes.
that have nothing to do with anything. And it's okay, because sometimes you need to detach.
Right.
We all need to detach sometimes, but also we have all of these things that we want to accomplish. I mean, I don't know if it's like you're like me, but I've got this goal board over here in the corner that has all of these things on it that I need to accomplish, or I want to accomplish, that I want to see get done. And sometimes if I take an audit of my time and where I'm spending it, it looks nothing like what I say I'm trying to
Wow.
accomplish.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's really like valuing your time, learning to say no to things. I think you mentioned boundaries earlier, like setting those boundaries and being able to say no, because what you're saying no to can absolutely change what you're saying yes to, right?
Yeah.
Because when you say no to the things that you don't need to be doing, saying no to the things that are wasting your time, saying no to the things that are, depleting you and exhausting you, you're saying yes to all of the time and the energy that you need in order to accomplish your goals. So being, valuing the time that you have and making sure that it's spent in the right place.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
the E, of course, is for evaluating and executing.
Yes.
And so a lot of times we like to be in the evaluating stage with talking about my results and all those things, but we can't get to that point if we're not executing. We're not doing the stuff.
Hmm.
All the planning, all of the creating, all of that has nothing, I mean, means nothing if you don't actually do, if you're
Right.
not actually executing, if you're not actually completing the task. We start all these things and then
Yes.
we get distracted because we're not managing our time, and then we have nothing, at the end when we were evaluating, it's like, oh
Right.
my goodness.
Yes. Yes. It was,
Where did
and we get so busy doing nothing. We get busy doing nothing. And then,
I-
so that's an important point. We need to stop and evaluate.
yeah, have
Yeah.
to.
Assess the situation. Yep. I love it. I love it. I love it. So tell me, I heard you mention a little bit about, oh, before I go to career clutch,
Yeah.
tell me what's on your desk, some of your favorite tools, because we have a couple of the same favorite things.
So let's see. On my desk, I have
Yes, time cubes. I love them.
time cubes. So these are, oh my God, they saved my life so many times. Because again, like some of your listeners, I am balancing, my 9 to 5, and then my coaching practice. And so I really have to figure out what supports that, because I'm only one person.
Right.
In
Exactly.
order to do that, sometimes well, not sometimes, all the time, I have to carve out time. So I use these cubes on a daily basis. So sometimes I have to carve out time of my work day to dedicate to Clutch. So I might give myself 30 minutes when I have it. If I don't have it, I may do 5-minute increments throughout the day, get some tasks done, return some emails, make some phone calls, those type of things. Pull one thing off of my goal board and dedicate my little 15 minutes to it every day. Yeah.
I love
Those
it.
minutes go a long way. So, yes,
Yes.
my favorite thing. My other thing that's on my desk is my write my word. It's a it's
Love
a
it.
journal, and so it allows me to give today. It says today is, and then after you write the date, you put I'm grateful for, and then I write what I'm grateful for, and then it has a scripture. And so this actual one is cultivating confidence. And so the entire journal is scriptures about confidence. And so it allows me to write the scripture for the day, and then I have like a blank page where I can just kind of brain dump whatever thoughts come to me, what resonates with me from the scripture or what it brings to mind. And so I spend my first 10 minutes of the day doing
Yes. Yes. I love it. I love it.
that.
I love it. Thank you for sharing. All right. So I heard you mention your coaching practice and clients. So tell me a little bit about what are you coaching people through? What are you helping? What is I know what your specialty is, but what kind of things are you coaching people through?
Um, it just depends. So, some of my clients were working through negotiating. I've had one person recently, and it happens, right? That you get people that'll say things to me like, I'm 50 plus years old, and this is the first time that I have ever countered an offer. But as a woman, we're just happy. We're happy that you thought of me. I'm so
Yeah.
happy that I'm excited that you thought of me
Yeah.
and you offered me the role.
So,
right? And so,
so true.
we don't think about, countering, if I counter what's going to happen, what's the worst thing that can happen, right? I mean, unless you come up with some crazy thing that you want a helicopter, a private jet or something. I mean, but what's the worst thing that's going to happen? You're going to land back at the place where you started, right? Like,
Mm,
if you were comfortable with what they were offering you, then that's the worst that's going to happen. You're going to land back there. So let
yeah,
me just at least ask for, the additional. Let me
right.
consider the fact that what they brought to the table may not align with what I'm worth. And so we work through those type of things. I also work with women right now. One of the biggest things that I'm working with my clients on, really, I'm doing a group coaching session right now, and we are really talking about habits of success, right?
Mm,
Because a lot of us get caught up in um, busyness. We get caught up in the busyness of work. And if I work really hard and I give them the best that I have, and I put my head down and I just bury it in the sand, that someone is going to come and they're going to recognize that and they're going to say, today is the day I'm going to elevate you and you're going to get a corner office. Here you go. Thank you for all of your hard work. And when that doesn't happen, we're devastated and it's everyone else's fault, right? Because
yeah.
they didn't give me the opportunity and they didn't and they didn't. And I want us to recognize that it's really whatever career change we want, whatever career growth we want starts with us.
Mm,
Promise you that if you start concentrating on those small habits of success, right?
yes.
Though, making sure that you are intentional, that you're consistent, that you stay curious, right? You stay learning, you keep your ear out for opportunities, you're finding out new ways to do things, you're innovative. If you can be consistent in those habits of success, those
Right.
things that you're just going to be doing to show up in excellence all the time,
Yeah.
that you're going to open up yourself for success. You're going to open up yourself for promotion. We get so caught up in building a career, and that sounds so labor intensive.
Yeah. I
So
never even
labor
thought of that. Yeah.
with a career instead of designing one, right? And creating the one that I'm just going to show up and be who I be, right?
Mm,
And when I be who I be,
right.
that's who I am, the opportunity will present themselves, or I'll be able to recognize that the opportunities are not here for me. I have, this was great. It was wonderful the moment. It served its purpose, but this is no longer my path. This is no longer the place for me. And there's an opportunity over there, but I can't see that when I'm so busy building. I'm
Right.
not negating anybody, as a woman of color, right? I know about being a first, being the only. And sometimes we have to build the table, all those things. And I'm not minimizing that. But we get caught up we fight for the build. I've got to build and I've got to work hard and I've got to,
Yes.
we fight
Yeah.
for it. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, I don't want to fight to build. I just want to be me. I
Yeah.
want to show up in excellence. I want to practice habits. I want to identify what that superpower is that I have, which for me, it really is observation. That is my superpower. And so many people think it's your skills, and the superpower is that behavior that you have that is the
Mhm.
multiplier when you attach it to your skill. So my skill set, maybe the fact that I am a gap finder. I am able to look at processes and I will find the missing piece and figure it out. So if you give me something, I look to Z. If we're
Mhm.
at A
Mhm.
to Z and I come backwards. And so I can kind of figure those things out. And that's the skill set that I have, right? But I am observant. That is my actual superpower. And I can take that and build it on anything because I
Right.
am observant. And if I want to help women to be able to identify what that thing is. And when you are able to identify that, you can take that anywhere and you're not building. You're just who you are. And it shows up. It shows up in everything.
Indeed. Yeah.
In
Yeah.
everything. Be who I be.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love that. I love that. That was so valuable. And I honestly feel so empowered actually because, with me recently, you know, leaving a very lucrative career and just doing this full time, I'm building a business. I'm building this business. And it does feel very labor intensive. And instead of, remembering that the right opportunities will come to me, the right things will come to me, be who I am, know my superpowers, and I know what they are, and just let that attract the right opportunities. And I think, people listening to this, men and women, wherever they are, being really aware of what you were just sharing, I think is really powerful. So thank you for that.
You are welcome.
So I did put Natasha's website address on the screen, on the banner. And I love your website. I love your pictures. It looks great. So I encourage people to go find that. And then where they can also find you on Facebook. You have a group.
Yeah,
You want to talk
it
about
is
that?
the career clutch. And
Yes.
they can go to www.jointhecareerclutch.com. I always mix them up with .net.com.
Okay. And then I know you've done some book clubs in the past. Are you doing any upcoming things for the summer or anything?
You know, yes, I think we're gonna do the memo.
Mm,
Um, we're probably gonna do the memo in the summer month, June or
okay.
July. I haven't
Okay.
decided yet, but it'll probably be June or July. But we'll dive into that one. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining. Learned a lot, lots of great conversation, and I'm really excited about the movement, whatever that is for you. You don't have to do hers, but come up with your own kind of um, routine and things that light you up and keep you moving. I think that's really powerful. And then some other tricks of the trade that she showed us. And then please visit her website and reach out to her. And thank you again, Natasha, for joining
Thank
us
you
today.
so much.
And I am sure we will see you again, Miss Coach, because we are at the Academy of Creative Coaching, always collaborating and wanting to be a resource for coaches everywhere. So thank you so much.
Thank you.